Where are we going?
Crazy.
Where are we going?
This way.
What's this way?
This is where my new shop is.
What?
Yeah.
That's what you do for effect. So this is the trip out to the new shop. Now how we found this place is we decided to go and check up on the local competition and see where they were operating. We thought that might offer us an opportunity to see where they were at and see if there was more room in that place, because trying to find property that is zoned correctly so that you can operate out of it is very difficult in this county. They don't have a whole lot of property like what we really ultimately need. And so we came out here to see another fence company who is coincidentally right there. We're just driving down the road and saw that they had some new asphalt up front. So right down here I was a little bit nervous because it said something about no trespassing, but we decided we were gonna blaze ahead anyhow. And it turns out it was okay. So we got to this break in the asphalt. Oh, this looks kind of new. And then I see all these units here. This looks brand spanking new. Talked to one of the people that owns the unit right down there on that end and found out who owned them and went and talked to him. Okay, so this is the new shop. Very, very brand new. In fact, they haven't even got the mailboxes up here at the end of the street yet. They are 3,000 foot. This is unit number 5, and then we have another one down here, 3,000 square foot each, and I think they have probably 16 or 18 foot sidewalls. They're very basic kind of warehouse. I think there's an electrician down in one of these, maybe a guy that does insulation. So pretty basic. There's no office or anything in them, not a big problem. We plan on working out of our home office. Computers are at the house where we have AC and all that stuff anyhow. The space that's available in St. Johns County right now is extremely tight. People keep telling me that like half the country moved here in the last 18 months. So there's not a whole lot of space available. And not only that, but this county in particular didn't do a very good job of planning for industrial type uses, especially people that want to do things like we do, and that's store materials outside. You can do a lot of stuff where you can store everything inside, but when you want to store it outside, they're trying to keep the county beautiful, and so you have to have a specific zoning requirement to be able to do that. This area has that. Behind the building, we've got a little bit of room, which we'll take you and show you here in a little bit, that we can maybe store some trailers, some material we can't fit inside the building. But that's why we opted to rent both of these units. Despite the fact that we want to keep our overhead low, is that we don't have a lot of room to put materials, equipment, trucks, and so on. So at least we can store some of that stuff inside and keep it safe, and we don't have a fenced yard. So anything that's outside is up for grabs. Somebody could go steal that. Considerations that we had when we did this is, what if the right piece of property opens up? We didn't want to be in a long lease, so we signed a 1-year lease versus a 3-year, which they would have allowed us to do a 3-year lease. Signed a 1-year lease for both properties and talked with them at length about what if something else comes along. They know what we're looking for. I've got a couple other real estate agents that know what we're really looking for ultimately. And maybe sometime in the next year that comes available. If that happens, we can sublease these to somebody else, or if we find another tenant, maybe even turn that lease over and help them find another lease. The owner of the building is pretty flexible, and so that gives us an out if it doesn't work. If we find out that we only need one of these, they said that they would allow us to do the same thing, either sublease it or put it on the market and they can find somebody to rent it. So have a lot of outs, and that's one of the things we're considering, because it is quite a lot of overhead in the very beginning stages of the business. But in St. Johns County, there again, it's very tough, and this is where we live, so this is kind of where we want to base the business out of. I know in Jacksonville it's a lot better, but in this county it's a little tough, and we didn't want to have to drive 30-40 miles to get to the shop every day. We wanted to be able to be to the shop in 15-20 minutes, and as a matter of fact, it takes us about 5 to 7 minutes to get from our house to here, so that's not bad. All considerations that we had when we chose this place. Right?
Right.
Right, ma'am?
Yes.
Right, my lovely?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's show these guys a little bit of what's inside. So you can see a little bit in there. That's basically, in both units, look exactly the same. Just a bathroom, nothing special, no office space or anything, but that'll be really good for running some pallet rack and stuff like that to keep things organized inside. So.
And it's drive-through.
And it's drive-through, pull through. So pull in one door and pull out the other door. Let's show them around the back. So this is the back side of the unit. We can pull through that bay right there. pull through that. She told me that they mowed this stuff and they can actually mow further all the way over to that fence there. So it is possible that we could get some more outside storage here. We can maybe back a trailer down off the asphalt here and park a trailer overnight or something like that. So those are all appealing things. While it's not secured, this is a fairly secluded industrial place. Not a whole lot of people know where this is, and unless you were coming here specifically, you wouldn't end up here, which is also a negative. Eventually, we'd like to have something on a higher traffic area where this is just off of US 1, not too far off of it. But eventually, what I'd really like to have is something on US 1 or one of the other busy thoroughfares, just to help try and sell retail if we ever get into that. But this is the new place, and we had to have this before we could start some of the other steps. So we'll talk about those other steps next. So we said we're going to get into the fence business, but first I wanted to show you what we started with. So starting with a truck, and I'll show you what I've got for tools. So this is probably the most expensive portion of tools I have. I have some band saws and basically full complement of DeWalt tools. Grinders, chargers, stuff like that. In here, just hand tools, pliers. Really? Shows now, just fly by. Some sockets. Nothing too special in there. Bits, different things. That's not much there. I have no skid steer. We have some more skill saw down here. Not much in that bin. This bin just packs with some sockets and different screw bits. It's got my full puller here, some trowels, some fence pliers, hammers, a wheel, levels, pull jacks, very, very basic stuff. In this, we've got just towing supplies, so a tow strap, hooks, nothing of any real value there. Bit with some bends, an extension cord, pliers, more pliers, cutters, stuff like that, small hand tools. A bin of extra bolts and nuts and things like that may come in handy. This bin, a little bit of paint, a tap and die set, some metric stuff, and that's it. Up in this bin, in this bin we have nothing major. A bag of electrical tools for gate operator stuff, jack, some DOT required stuff, a tool set, electrical supplies. This is just a labeler, and this is, I don't remember what that is, maybe that's a laser leveler. So that's it. What you see right here is all I have. As you can see, we don't have all the tools we need, so let's go get in the fence business right now. What are we doing? Everybody knows that you cannot start a fence company without a trip to Lowe's. We're gonna go to Lowe's. That's where we're going.
Yay, Lowe's!
We're not qualified with what we have, with the tools we had. It's just not qualified. Don't worry, we will be though. We're missing some stuff.
But the cool thing is Lowe's is like
It's like right here.
right here.
We didn't have Lowe's in Wyoming. Well, not where we lived. There was one Lowe's in Wyoming, and that was 6 hours away. So we didn't get to go to Lowe's. This is where the video editors need to pan over to the post hole diggers, and they need to have the the clouds part and the sun shines, and there's the post hole diggers. You can't be a fence builder without those. Definitely cannot start a successful fence company without a set of these. Wait, but there's more. Ooh, it's a $54 set. I feel like this one already gave me fiberglass slivers. Yeah, I feel like this isn't good. This is not good. This is a loser. Holy buckets. Those are a no. These are both very heavy. Fiberglass versus stainless steel. We're gonna go for these. I feel like this is professional grade. I can see the headlines now. Flip-flop fencer, shops at Lowe's. Lowe's. How do you feel about your new postal diggers, woman business owner?
Very heavy.
I think those are the ones I need.
I can find some good man
Wait,
to wield these.
Is the purchase approved?
Yes.
Okay.
What else do we need to start a successful fence company?
Truck,
Check.
postal diggers.
Check.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We're done. Let's go check out.
What else do we need? I don't know.
Child labor. Yes, check.
No, check.
No.
No.
Lifetime hassle-free guarantee, just so you know. Lifetime.
That's a selling point.
We better hurry up and get some fences sold. We're already in the hole, $58.56. Now that we have the truck, step 1. Postal diggers, step 2. Step 3, I'm sure you're dying to know. Go get a job, duh. Take some people's money. Actually, in all seriousness, let's show you what you really need to do to start a fence company the proper way. Doing business in Florida is nowhere near as easy as doing business in Wyoming. So the process is that it's very important to find a place to operate out of first, because you cannot just walk in and get a business license without a place to operate out of. Luckily, yesterday, as you saw, we were able to find a place to operate, so we filled out a bunch of paperwork this morning. We thought, oh, well, we'll just run down there and we'll turn in the application for a business license, which is called a business tax receipt, which basically means you just registered for a business so that now we know that you exist so that we can charge you a bunch of taxes. So congratulations, they can charge us taxes. So I went to the courthouse thinking, oh, well, we'll just pop in there real quick, turn in the application. I called ahead and they said, yeah, it's $22, so we'll just pay the $22 and we'll be on our way. No, I got to sit in line and that took forever. And then after I got done sitting in line, I got to the counter and she's like, okay, this is nice, but where's the rest of it? And I'm like, hey, excuse me? What do you mean the rest of it? So she says, yeah, you need to get approval from planning and zoning that they cleared this address that you guys say your business is at for business. So good luck trying to operate a business out of your home. Probably not gonna work here. In Wyoming, you can do that all day long. So here, you have to get planning and zoning approval for the address you have listed. If we had listed a home address, they probably would have said, no, you're not zoned for commercial business, so we can't approve this. So I walked from one building over to the other building. They waited in another line and there was nobody at the desk, so I'm just sitting there waiting. Finally somebody came along, filled out the paperwork, collected $22 from me and said, okay, here's your piece of paper. Took that piece of paper and luckily the gal that we were talking to before said, okay, you don't have to wait in line, just come see me and I'll sneak in. But that still took a long time because she had somebody at her desk, so that was like another half an hour. And the whole thing's taken 2 hours. Yeah, we left at like, 2 freaking hours to do all this. But bam, have a business license. Oh, and the other thing is, luckily yesterday we filled out all the paperwork with the Secretary of State, because if we hadn't done that, they wouldn't have been able to look up and see that we were registered with the Secretary of State. And they were like, yeah, do you have a registration? Are you registered? I said, yeah, sure, we did that yesterday. And she's like, well, I don't know if I'll be able to look it up. Do you have an email? And I'm like, Tanya might have an email. So luckily she was able to get on there, look it up, found out that we had registered yesterday with the Secretary of State, and pulled up that information and printed off the sheet that she needed. So after 2 hours, boom, but it's a process. So register with the Secretary of State, then find a place to operate your business out of, then go to the tax office, then go to planning and zoning, make sure that you get your sheet saying that it's okay to operate a business out of whatever address you're listing your business at, then get your business license, a total of $42 and like 6 hours of our time, and boom, we're done. So that was today. Like I say, yesterday, luckily, we found a place to operate out of. So what kind of joys await us for tomorrow? I have no idea, but boy, this is gonna be exciting. Step 2B, go have lunch because buying postal diggers makes you extremely tired. Bonus tip, you can deduct lunch as long as you're out with your business partner, which I am.
I'm here. I approve this
However,
transaction.
Only 50% of that. We won't be deducting this, but if you want to deduct it as a business expense, you can deduct meals up to 50%, not 100%. So make sure you have a separate line on your profit and loss for meals. We're at the Bees, Bourbon Street steak, Oreo shake with the whipped cream on top too. 2 straws, 1 check. Girl, I got you. I had to do that.